Trying to bully or censor me won't work because this movement for a ceasefire is much bigger than one person. It's growing every single day. Palestinian people are not disposable. We are human beings, just like anyone else.
Well, that is Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib defending herself on the House floor on Tuesday after members of the House of Representatives voted on a resolution to censure Tlaib, condemning her for recent anti-Israel comments and for, quote, promoting false narratives about the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel. Well, Tlaib is now the 26th member of the House of Representatives to be censured in U.S. history. I want to bring back my panel here, Mike, John, Alencia, and ABC News correspondent Jay O'Brien joining us from Capitol Hill. Thanks, everybody. And Jay, we'll start here with you. Considering this censorship, I mean, it doesn't really deny Tlaib of a privilege at all in Congress. She's not going to be expelled. It's largely ceremonial. I mean, what exactly does it mean for her?
No, it's more of a black mark on a member of Congress's history in the chamber. Also, as you said, it's historic. Only 26 lawmakers have experienced congressional censure in American history. And it's also the Congress's way of saying that it disapproves with the comments that Representative Tlaib made. And there were a number of Democrats who supported Congresswoman Tlaib. Some said that they didn't like that she was the only Palestinian American in the Congress to be essentially denied of a voice. That's what some of her defenders said. Other Democrats said that they didn't like what she said, but they respected her ability to say it. But nonetheless, there were 22 Democrats that joined with Republicans in censuring Tlaib. So she also got condemnation, not just from the right, but from some within her own party, Kana.
Exactly. And Mike, to you, she's the first woman of Palestinian descent in Congress, and she has made several controversial comments about the war, but she defends herself saying it's free speech. How are Americans viewing her behavior?
It is. This is a really difficult time, and I think that this censure puts it in perspective the difficulty that society has with the dynamic of the Israeli versus Hamas conflict. As someone, as being the only Palestinian American in elected Congress, I understand the emotion that she feels and the passion that she feels. But just as President Biden has sent signals to Israel to have restraint in their response to Hamas, to not to have impact on the people of the Palestinian people, also to Representative Tlaib has to have restraint in her emotions and how she governs her speech. Yes, she does have the freedom of speech to say that, but the freedom of speech is limited when it comes to incitement. And I think it was really from the river to the sea, which is what struck such as polarizing impact that calls for the censure. And so through the emotions, restraint still has to be had in really pulling out the nuance of this dynamic.
Yeah, and Mike, let's take that to John here. John, it really was this phrase, from the river to the sea, which of course many people say calls essentially for the eradication of Israel and for the killing of the Jewish people. And John, she argues that instead it's an aspirational call for freedom and a peaceful coexistence, essentially doubling down on her advocacy there. But, you know, John, in your opinion, does this censure vote really set a precedent for that kind of language?
Well, I think that, first of all, the censure vote is generally regarded as a solemn event, a sad event in Congress. And unfortunately, like many other things, it seems to be used more and more lately as a political tool. But that being said, she knew exactly what she was doing when she made those comments. And not in the majority of the House of Representatives chose to rebuke her, including, which is very significant, nearly 24 members of her own party. So this wasn't just a partisan maneuver. This was a bipartisan effort to censure those comments. She knew what she was saying, and she was held accountable for it. But in the end, the way censure is being used now, I mean, I think there was votes last week for censure. And there's probably more coming. They're way too commonplace now. It's a solemn thing that should have been reserved for something like this. And she was held accountable, and I understand where she's coming from. But like when you become a member of Congress, you have to have certain standards that you adhere to that are above and beyond just free speech.
Right, again, so from the river to the sea, they're talking about the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, and that encompasses Israel. And I've heard from college students that have felt very fearful, Jewish college students that say they feel fearful when they're walking around on campus and people are chanting that. It's understandable because people do believe that is an incredibly anti-Semitic phrase. And Alincia, to you, I mean, the world is watching this play out. And the Biden administration, of course, is saying they support Israel, don't support a ceasefire at this time. There's some heavy criticism even within the president's own party right now about the handling of this Israel-Hamas war. How should the White House be looking at all of this right now?
You know, it's a very interesting time right now because the White House, of course, is wanting to make sure its allies are supported. The reality is the Democratic Party is such a diverse party, which is why the censure, it was so, heartbreaking for Rashida Tlaib, and that she is the only Palestinian American represented in our body of Congress, which if we zoom out, the Democratic Party likes to have a lot of representation of so many different walks of life within the party. And so the White House is trying to figure out what is the best way in order to ensure that this war against Hamas is actually supported and the anti-Semitism is, being addressed here, not only in the world, but also here, but also ensuring that Palestinian Americans, that, Muslim communities also feel supported, because that is part of our base. A lot of young people support Palestinian Americans. And so it's a fine line to walk, especially walking into an election year.
All right. Thank you all for your time, Mike, John, Alincia, and Jay. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.